Welcome to the Weekly Dose, everybody. I am your host, Juice Wayne, and yes, your eyes do not deceive you. My hair is straight. It was a bad decision, and now I feel like I should be ushering you to your seat at an opera house. But yeah, this episode is going to be a condensed version because if you did not see our last video where we covered a massive story that involves the MrBeast drama that surrounds Dogpack 404 and Rosanna Pansino, I highly suggest you go check it out. But you can also check out a sneak peek right now. It's been over 80 days since MrBeast got hit with multiple allegations such as faking videos, rigging contests, psychological torture, providing an unsafe work environment, and protecting people who have been inappropriate with minors, just to name a few. But the one thing that has not happened in the last 80 days is a response from MrBeast regarding those allegations. And I'm here to explain why I think MrBeast is never going to respond, and it's all because of these two people. Dogpack 404 and Rosanna Pansino. So definitely go check that out if you are interested. But now let's dive into the first story of the broadcast. And this should serve as a PSA for a lot of you people out there that are bumping uglies to wrap up your and get your partners tested, because over the last week, Twitter exploded because an OnlyFans creator revealed that someone named Gucci Third Leg gave her an incurable STD when he said he would give her test results and he didn't, and unfortunately, she believed him and it resulted in this situation. Now, the reason why this became so big on Twitter was because obviously a lot of people were being toxic to this woman for thinking that she was dumb to blindly trust a guy, but also because this Gucci Third Leg guy has apparently been with 3,000 women.
So last year my body count was like 3,100, but I was really, I didn't feel too bad about it because my ex-chick Dominant Body had like 2,000 or whatever, but.
This claim had started making a lot of streamers question if they've been infected because they've all hooked up with the same women that this guy has. One particular streamer was having a massive meltdown on stream because they thought they were now infected because this Gucci fellow had been with popular mattress actress Sky Bree. Now, I should point out that Sky Bree has come out on social media and clarified that she doesn't know who this guy is. She hasn't been with him, so please keep her out of the drama. And yeah, so if you are one of those fellows out there that dreams of thinking you have a chance with Sky Bree, you can happily go back to your fantasies without having to worry about getting an STD. On a more serious note, I have to say that this woman is pretty brave for coming forward with such a personal story, because unfortunately, this kind of stuff does have a stigma that follows you around. But now that it went so viral, hopefully this will protect women in the future from this scummy guy who likes to lie about what he's got and is basically spreading disease around to get his jollies off, which I think is a scumbag move to do. But hopefully this story knocks some sense into you people out there to let you know, don't risk it for the biscuit. Remember people, safe sex is great sex. Moving on to our next story that does not involve bumping uglies. Well, actually, I don't think we can technically say that because it involves anime and manga, but this is basically a continuation of a story that we've covered on the Weekly Dose before about YouTuber Valkyrae launching a new media company called Hi Studios, and they just so happened to reveal some stuff at New York Comic-Con this week. According to CBR, Valkyrae, manga and webtoon creator Brandon Chen co-wrote Apollyon, which is set in a world where magic is both a blessing and a curse. The world is divided between the radiant city of Takamagahara, a utopia suspended in the clouds, and Chasm City, a grim underbelly encircling a vast abyss. The manga's protagonist Nuru, the son of Takamagahara's most powerful wizard, struggles under the weight of his father's massive legacy, unable to cast a single spell despite his immense magical potential. Due to his magical impotence, Nuru is banished to Chasm City, the urban pit carved into the center of the world where those without magic live amongst demons. He believes his life is doomed to mediocrity until he crosses paths with a magical entity, a fallen angel believed to be extinct, that unlocks Niru's ability to cast spells. It sounds interesting enough. I will say that the art does look pretty fire, but this is just a cover and there's no telling if this is going to also be the interior art as well. Now, I do want to point out that Valkyrae called this a comic on her Instagram, but the article said that it was going to be a manga series. So I'm a little confused there because there is differences between manga and comics. They read differently. Sometimes the story beats are pretty drastically different, to be honest. Even the way you read each chapter can be very different. So I'm very curious what's going to happen there. I would assume it's going to be a manga though, because, you know, Brandon Chen is involved. When I first heard that name, I was like, No way. Is that who I think it is? Because if you've ever been on anime TikTok before or ever looked into becoming a manga writer that is American, you've probably seen one of Brandon Chen's videos before because he's basically been making content about how he's creating a manga. Another thing I was a little confused by was that the article didn't say who the artist was on this book. Because from my understanding, Brandon Chen has always been a writer and not an artist, unless he's going to be the artist for this. It does say co-writer in the article, so that kind of, again, is confusing. But yeah, I don't know. I always followed his stuff because I always thought it was interesting that somebody is, one, American trying to get into manga. And, I myself want to create manga someday, but I can't draw for. So I'm going to need to be a writer that finds an artist, so his content was always interesting to me. But as I mentioned the first time we talked about Hi Studios, I'm really excited to see where this is going to go. Because according to that article, it seems like Valkyrae is jumping into the writing chair. And I'm going to be excited to see what she does. Now, I do really hope that she writes a good manga series and it's not carried by her popularity. Because there have been a lot of YouTubers and streamers that have dove into trying to create comics, and I'll be honest, I've read a few of them. They're not really my cup of tea. I didn't think they were the best, but I'm always excited to see people try to get into that space because I think it's a great space. I've always loved comics, if you can't tell. If you can't tell, big nerd here. I've always loved comics, love manga, so seeing that there are creators out there in the same field that I'm in, going out and branching out to do this, gives me hope that I'll be able to do the same one day, hopefully. So yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. With Hi Studios, with Valkyrae, with Brandon Chen. I'm excited to see the future of Hi Studios. Now for our final story of the broadcast, it has to deal with the futuristic party that Elon Musk and Tesla threw recently that showed off a toaster van, a self-driving taxi, and your future $3,000 robot butler. This event looks straight out of Will Smith's iRobot, and I'm not even joking there. Like, the resemblance is uncanny. It's like Elon Musk freaking watched the movie and just yelled at all his workers to create those things in real life. If you were on the internet watching everybody react to this event, there were two types of people. There were the people that were like, oh my God, Elon, this is the greatest thing ever. You're a freaking genius, man. There were those, and then there were the other people that thought this event was a complete freaking scam. And I was in that boat. First off, we need to talk about the toaster van because Elon basically made a bus that can't go over bumps. Like, can you imagine the detours that are gonna have to happen in major cities with this thing? There's not really much else to say about that. That thing doesn't look like it can function on normal roads, okay? Like that, really, it just doesn't. Anyways, the next thing that came up was the cyber cab, which is the taxi thing. And I have to say, this thing looked kind of cool. It looks pretty fire on the outside, like it's something that I would drive until you get in it and realize there's no freaking steering wheel. I don't know about you, but I am not ready to trust my life to a vehicle that I cannot manually override or that I cannot drive myself. I'm getting anxiety thinking about it. What if you're on the highway, everybody's going like 80, like everybody's going crazy, and your car just dies or it loses signal or does whatever. What are you gonna do? Or like, what happens in that situation? You can't steer it to the side of the road. It just stops in the middle and you're stuck. Like, that would be terrifying. It also doesn't help that MKBHD went to this event and got to experience this car firsthand, and the way he described it just made me feel like you were stuck in a death trap.
And there's no steering wheel in front of me, but once you get over the eeriness of basically being trapped in this driverless car with no manual override, I started looking around and noticing a few other things. You sit pretty low to the road, similar to a Model 3, but with more legroom since the seating position's further back. And then there's even fewer physical controls than ever before in this car. Like, I basically only found that the window switches were in the middle next to the cup holders. I didn't even see any door latches. Like, the doors only opened with a button on this enormous touchscreen. So again, like a Tesla, it's gonna control everything in the car on the screen.
I'm all for new technology, but that one's giving me a little bit of a nightmare. And also, how is this thing gonna park? Like, what happens if there's like malfunctions that are happening with this car when it's gotta park in a very crowded city? because there are self-driving cars right now that freak out when they try to park sometimes.
He says the honking incidents have happened at random times during both the day and night and have started to take a toll on him.
But now let's talk about the biggest scam that was at that Tesla party, and it was the butler robots, because those things were clearly operated by humans.
Optimus number 1, robots are the future. Hey, how's it going, sir? What can I get you?
I know AI and robo voices are getting better by the day, but that was so clear and the response was so quick that it was just human. Like, that thing was a glorified telephone speaker. I say glorified or glorified? Elon also mentioned that these robots are going to be able to do basic things around the house, like water your plants, you know, kind of maybe, can they wash dishes? That's not even a joke because the Cybertruck can't go in the car wash, so. Elon also said that this is going to be something that everybody wants, and it's only going to cost about $20,000 to $30,000, but let's be real, people, okay? Let's get real serious for a moment. There's only one type of robot that is piquing people's interest right now, and it doesn't do household chores. It most certainly doesn't cost $20,000, and it's customizable.
True work of art. It's just heart-stopping.
You know, when I walked into work this morning, I didn't think this episode was going to be that horny. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we got for this episode. Don't forget to go check out our deep dive on the whole MrBeast situation. Let me know what robot you want living with you. And remember, when you wake up in the morning, ask yourself something. Buy my daily dose of juice. Beep!